Rev up your engines. Okay, today we have a $70 car that's running lean, according to the customer. Yes, he paid 70 bucks for this Ford Focus 2 years ago from a neighbor. So, heck, he doesn't have much money in it, and he's tried various things, but it keeps showing that it's lean. So first, we're gonna scan it to see everything that's coded inside. First of all, I gotta say, not a bad deal for 70 bucks. I mean, look. The alloy wheels are still good. Body's in decent shape. Hey, not a bad deal 2 years ago for 70 bucks. Since it's an older one, an 01, it doesn't have that horrible dual clutch automatic that just destroys them. It's a much simpler 4-speed automatic, and they really don't have all that many problems. As you can see, this baby's got 160,402 miles on it, and the tranny still shifts okay. So we'll turn on the new scan tool I'm trying out. It's auto fix. It's an auto fix D1 Lite. Focus with the Z-Tech engine, 2-liter automatic. Gasoline, 50 state emissions. And the check engine light's on, so there's got to be code stored. Worried about it running lean. It's an old car. It's got just a few codes, but the main thing we care about is the powertrain. A system 2 lean bank 1. It's only got one bank. And evap leak, which is a very small leak, less than 2/100ths of an inch. So that's not gonna make it really run leak. That's a very small leak. Probably the gas cap. What we want to figure out is why it's too lean on bank 1. So we will look at the freeze frame data. It happened when it was in closed loop, so the engine was warmed up. The engine coolant temperature 220, so it was definitely warm. It was adding 15% fuel. Long-term fuel trim, it's adding 25%. The fuel rail pressure is 38.73 psi, 1100 RPM, and it was only going 6 miles an hour. So it happened at a very low speed. We know it's not the fuel pump, because the fuel pump should be 38 to 40, and it's 38. So I kind of already figured this out, because I said, how does it go on the highway? And he said it runs fine, 60, 70 miles an hour. If you had a weak fuel pump, the faster you go, the worse the car would run. In this case, it's running ultra lean. It's having to add almost 25% fuel long term when it's at lower speeds, which is often a low vacuum problem, that at low speeds you got a vacuum leak. But I mean, it idles okay. It's not idling that bad for one of these things. Short-term fuel is 15.63. and long term it's 25%. We read the freeze frame data, so I'm going to erase the codes now. So as we drive it, we'll get the latest data to see if it's always the same thing. The engine's now off, so let's look under the hood. Now as we look under the hood, the guy's actually done quite a few things. He did a tough to fix it, but none of them worked. He put a timing belt on, fuel pressure regulator on. He also put on a mass airflow sensor, changed the spark plugs and all that stuff. Now running lean can be a stinker of a problem, because running lean can be you're getting too much air, and then it has too much air, not enough fuel, which is lean. Or you can have not enough fuel, the right amount of air, but not enough fuel. Now in this case, it's happening at lower speeds. I don't feel it misfiring. It's idling okay. I don't hear any vacuum leaks. You got a vacuum leak, this thing be shaking like mad if it had a vacuum leak when you're idling. So I really doubt that that's the problem. No leak. The gas cap was a little loose, and a lot of times they'll stick, so I'll get a little silicone lubricant and I'll spray it all over the rubber seal. Get it nice and lubricated. Then we'll get this on nice and tight. It's probably the original one, because it's still got the strap. Most people have old ones, the strap's long gone, but we'll screw this thing in until it clicks, and then close it. Now he's changed the mass airflow sensor, so that's fine. Got the right data. If that goes bad, it can give the wrong data. If you have a vacuum leak past the sensor, sucks extra air, but I don't hear any. It doesn't sound like there's any, and it's idling fine. If you have an air leak at idle, it's going to idle bad, bounce around. Higher speeds it won't, but it's not doing that. So I think it's not getting enough fuel. We changed the fuel pressure regulator. We saw the fuel pressure on the freeze frame data was fine. It was 38.73, I believe, and 38 to 40 is normal, so it's not a fuel pressure problem. I think it's in the injectors. Now, if your fuel injectors aren't spraying enough fuel, you're going to run lean. This regular amount of air that's coming in doesn't change, but the fuel is less. So we're going to try some of Bernie's ATS fuel cleaner in the gas tank. We'll just pour a whole bottle in. good to the last drop, put the cap back on, and take it for a serious spin at higher RPMs to make the cleaner work better. Right, the inside, not bad for a $70 car 2 years ago. No backup camera, it's an old car. Turn the heat down, it's getting too hot now. Heater still works great. Really, it's not running bad, but we're gonna put it in first gear. We're gonna drive it around at higher RPMs for at least half an hour. That'll leave it higher RPMs. This is a low price car. Notice it does not have a tachometer, so we're just gonna have to guess at the sound. We want it going maybe 2,500, 3,000 RPMs. Second gear. Second gear will be a little bit lower here, but once we get on the road, that should be a good 2,000 to 3,000 RPMs, which is the speed we want to drive around at to help clean out the fuel injectors. It cleans the whole system, the intake valves, anything could be the problem, but more often with this kind of mileage, you know, 160,000 miles, original fuel injectors, they could be just flat worn out, but they could also just be dirty. Hey, what a $70 car. It's all he paid for, it's 70 bucks. The brakes work good. He did a good job on the timing because this is a double overhead cam engine and he lined it up right. We don't have to break the law to do the test because even though we're only going 40, you can hear the engine spinning good. So we'll just leave it at 40 miles an hour in second gear, drive around for half an hour. Sounds good. Really, it rides good. What a deal for 70 bucks. Just to show you, we'll put it in drive. Now it's in regular gear, shifts through the gears good. Well, it looks like the road is closed up ahead from floodwaters. It was closed the other day. I'm surprised it's still closed. We gotta back up a bunch of times. But this looks like the last one, the third time. Now we'll go back another way and put it back into second gear. I mean, this engine sounds good. And like I say, if it had a vacuum leak, at low speeds it might backfire, stumble. It's not doing any of that stuff. And it easily goes 60 miles an hour, so we know the fuel pump's good. Check engine light isn't coming back on. We'll see what happens after half an hour. Oh, we drove it around about 45 minutes to check it out. Here's the data. Long-term fuel trim. It was adding 25, it's adding 0. The short term, it's only adding 4.7. It's getting better, but this is just after driving 45 minutes. The long-term fuel trim, it was adding 25%. Now it's adding none. I don't have my seatbelt on, so it's warning me. Warning, warning, hey, I'm not moving. I don't need the seatbelt on. We'll head our merry way back, but hey, I'm still gonna drive it at higher speeds to help it clean more. We're back home. Check engine light didn't come on. It's running perfectly fine. So a little cleaner cleaned the injectors and they're not running lean at low speeds anymore. Now, what if the cleaner didn't work? Did that mean it's not the injectors? Well, not necessarily, because they could be breaking down mechanically too. In that case, get out my freeze frame oscilloscope, hook it up to all 4 cylinders, analyze the wave patterns of each injector to see, are a few of the injectors not firing right at certain speeds? Are all of them? Are none of them? But in this case, cleaning fixed it. A lot of times, cleaning will fix it. You'd be surprised at how long fuel injectors can actually last in a car. These are 160, and they're working fine once I cleaned them up. So sometimes you get lucky, a bottle of cleaner fixes the whole thing. Hey, certainly worth a gamble, because the next stage means using his brain and a freeze frame oscilloscope, which isn't the easiest thing for most people to do. But it's fixed now, thanks to the auto fix giving us the information we needed, and a little Bernie's cleaner. Hey, what a fix. If you can get these things fixed this easily, it's always best to analyze the data, see, it's running lean. Well, if you don't find any vacuum leaks, and he tried to find them, he couldn't find any, then next thing would be try to clean the fuel injectors, because this is an old car, 160,000 miles. I doubt if they'd ever been cleaned ever. I mean, he only paid 70 bucks for the car, but now it's still pretty good transportation because it's got that 4-speed automatic, not that stupid dual clutch one in the Focuses that all blew up and Ford had to buy some of the cars back. That was a disaster. These cars weren't disaster. It's when they went to that dual clutch transmission that they became disasters. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.